Well, hello, it's Gmodism, and today we're going to have one of the largest battles ever held in this game. Yes, we are going to pitch Azusa's Saturnius class super battleship against the Ryujin super Battlecarrier with its drones. It is namely so that our Discord friend Azusa, she has a NASA computer basically. She likes to build pretty big. The Saturnius class is just shy of 16 million in terms of cost, so it's a really big ship. And the Ryujin super Battlecarrier, it's between 6 and 7 million. So the Saturnius class has a advantage of somewhat of 10 million. So even if we would have two super battle carriers with drones, they would still be kind of a large bit behind in terms of materials. So given this extreme size difference, we can already assume that the Ryujin super battle carrier basically doesn't have a chance of battling the Saturnius class. Yeah, because it's 17 million almost. In any case, this is the largest thing I've made. I'm thinking perhaps sometime in the future we could do a little battle between some of her smaller ships, which are still kind of close to 10 million. Azusa builds really big. In any case, huge thanks to Azusa for recording this battle and sending it over to me. It's recorded in half speed and then I've sped it up like 2x, so it should be the closest we can get to normal speed. That's some weird tricks we have to do when we do really large battles. Because all of the sub-objects all of the small objects with the, storm attack swarmers makes it so that it even lags a little bit for her despite the super NASA computer. So, as you can see here, the Saturnius class is really big, relies on a big barrage of railgun APS turrets. Maybe I would have wanted, that's something that we could think about in future. It would have been cool if both the ships were spawned with the noses towards each other, because that makes it so that a ship needs to make sure it actually has some maneuverability. Now the Saturnius class is spawned with a 90-degree broadside and the Ryujin super battle carrier is facing forwards. So it takes a little while before the Ryujin super battle carrier's arrow guns can get in, and I think that since the Saturnius class really relies on, poor things, APS, range is pretty good for her. As you can see, the attack swarmers get targeted by lasers, and yes, they actually have smoke defenses. The attack swarmers have smoke, but the Saturnius class battleship's lasers are pretty big because it's a 17 million ship and all its systems are pretty much very insane. Alright, so you can see they are dropping like flies when they get targeted by the laser. We are entering degraded from time to time. You can see it slows down. It should be real time like this. But I would assume that there are some smaller weapons that are also targeting the drones as well. Now they're trying to get into range, and as you can see, this time they were all actually able to launch. Sometimes it happens so that the game lags so much that the drones are kind of stuck in air and doesn't get released because of lag. So here we pause a little bit. We can have some damage assessment on the Battlecarrier. You can see that its turret armor is pretty acceptable. The Saturnius class guns don't go through them in just one blast, except this thing. Yeah. And what is that? Okay, in any case, the attack swarmers are of course trying to get into range. They have 500mm diff guns, but I would suspect that the Saturnius class has some pretty strong lambs, so it's still at 99.7%. I'm almost a little bit surprised that anything gets through to damage it. With I don't know the exact cost of the lamb system. Now, we would have walked through and looked a little bit about the Saturnius class, but it just lags a little bit too much for me, so I'll need to upgrade my PC first. Right, so in any case, we can see that shots are being fired in air. We have a little assessment there, and it looks like these small lasers are more like lambs or something, but that's damaged lasers. And some damaged lasers there. Well, the Battlecarrier is down to 94%, and that's not a lot for it. Unfortunately, it has lost its 3x huge missile turret, and that's one of its better. that weapon deals kind of lots of damage, so pretty unlucky that it got shot. Yeah. In any case, this is one of the times we're pretty glad that the Super Battlecarrier did spend... I did put a big budget for it towards like anti-missile systems and stuff like that. It has some anti-missile diff guns together with anti-missile missiles, and actually lots of anti-missile missiles and some flak turrets. So it is able to shoot down very many of the incoming swarms. However, Azusa has put a very large barrage of large missiles that are vertical launch missiles on the Saturnius class, like a lot. I don't know exactly how many there are, but there is a lot. But in the frame here in the front, you can see that there are a lot of those missiles are exploding and going up in air, and that's thanks to my strong like system to deal with that. But even so, you can see it's like fireworks. It's like some darn super scary firework. But yeah, still a lot of them go through. We can see it's a shape charge frag. A lot of them go through, and this is to be expected. Please remember that if we had two Ryujin Super Battlecarriers to pitch it against the Saturnius class, the Super Battlecarriers would still be in a severe material disadvantage. However, Azusa actually tried to spawn into Super Battlecarriers, but that even lagged too much for her very expensive computer. So at that point we're reaching kind of some game limitation where there isn't a way to do these battles anymore. Like, the game isn't able to process when the battles get large enough, we're not able to process it, and it will stutter anyways. You'll see a little bit in this battle that from time to time, oh look, isn't that my oh yes, that is my EMP crams. That's my EMP cram mortars. I'm pretty happy that it reached somewhere. Now, the Saturnius class is mostly built with alloy, so alloy in huge amounts is a pretty good defense against EMP actually. If you didn't know that. And man, these cannons are pretty scary. They are so big. What'll be interesting here, were we able to take something out? Here we can see the large missile. That's the large missile VLM system, and it's on the same on the other side. That's a lot. And that's a lot of tiny laser turrets, man. Well, that's good with the redundancy. Redundancy is key, and redundancy is king. The armor scheme is pretty strong. I do think I remember that to be heavy armor, so it's one of the strongest armor schemes we can have, which is of course the only way to go on a like, what is it, 16.9 million ship. It's a big one. It's the largest ship I've seen in action. I don't know if there are larger ships than this, but because of the extreme hardware limitations and stuff like that, we can assume that this particular battle we're watching right now might not be one of the most exciting battles you've ever seen, because we all know how this is going to go, but it is one of the largest battles you've ever seen in terms of materials. Because, yeah, and now you can see the swarm is coming again. Holy moly, that's a lot. That's so scary. And I must say, I am actually pretty... that's my missiles coming in there. The Ryujin Super Battlecarrier does have a pretty good VLM large missile barrage as well. But of course, we can't measure our barrage with something that's like 4 times as big. But I am pretty proud of my anti-missile systems, that they are actually able to take out a lot of those missiles. You could see them go off like fireworks before. Ooh, now we're looking pretty sad, man. Oh, yep. Some shots have gone through the turrets there. To be expected, but they won't blow up because of that. They'll just be a little bit slower shooting or stuff like that. So it's okay. That's because it's pure railguns. I don't need to have emergency ejection diffusers on pure railguns. Well, we do have smoke, but we don't have perfect smoke. I'd suspect that this laser system is actually pretty strong, and there we could see a little tail of pack going in there too. So the Saturnius class have some pack too. Right. Oh, and there went... no, there are... yeah. There went the last attack swarmer Mark 1. We only got one Mark 2 left. But it has no material, so I expect it sits and floats somewhere. I wonder what happened with the surveillance drone. I don't think I've seen it in this battle. Who knows? Well, the Saturnius class is at 98.7%, and the Ryujin Super Battlecarrier is down to 79. And again, I'm still surprised some shots even reach it. Oh man, that just despawned. Well, one turret is completely down. The Ryujin Super Battlecarrier does have some pretty light armor as well. It's actually more relying on redundancy, and that's because the Ryujin Super Battlecarrier, of course, the way it's designed is that the attack swarmers will deal with the targets, and it will only give some support from far away. But of course, that's not the case here, because the Saturnius class has done a pretty good job of taking out those attack swarmers as they went. So yeah, I think that the Ryujin Super Battlecarrier is mostly built to battle ships that are smaller than itself, like most aircraft carriers. They are not meant up to go up against really big targets or really big threats. They are more designed to take on smaller targets and to bully them with aircraft and take them out and not have so high losses because the ship itself will not receive most of the damage. But of course, sometime when I've afforded a really good computer, I think I would like to build some really big stuff like Azusa does, and see what I could make with making a dedicated battleship that costs up to like 10 million or something like that. That's not a carrier, but rather a super battleship of some kind. But I do know, I don't know if I showed you that before, but I do got her Juno class, and it's it doesn't lag so much. I think it's free of water pumps or something like that. It's in any ways built in a way so it doesn't lag too much, so I actually can spawn that, and that's pretty cool. Right. You see there, we have damaged the Civis turret. We've shot through. Poor Civis system. Yeah, well, I'm actually pretty impressed that my guns have went through that far. That's pretty cool. And, well, the Ryujin's railguns are serious business too, even though it takes a couple of shots to get through some armor like that. But you know, if we there is, yeah, it's just so big. I think it's extremely hard to win a battle like this. Now it slows down time a little bit. I wonder if there is some kind of lag going on here. Well. Now we're speeding up again. We can see the Saturnius class has a... or it's actually Saturnius class. Yes. In any ways, it has some pretty large barrage of anti-missile missiles. I do expect that our missiles probably don't go through, most likely. Well, down to 72%. Oh my god, look at that cloud. Man. Now we get the stutters, even though we record at half speed or and sped it up later now. But you can see, man, that's some fireworks. Even though it's 72% damaged, it seems we're able to take out a large portion of that swarm. That makes me happy, and that's good, because the remaining missiles makes me very sad. So much damage. Yeah. And there went some more percentages. Well, at least the Super Battlecarrier, it won't sink. I'm so surprised that this little diff platform is still floating there, but they're not aiming. And this is because they are not set up to battle with a distance this far, which would have been a little bit action improvement, I think, if they've spawned with the noses to each other, because I would expect that the Saturnius class ship doesn't turn on a dime exactly. The Ryujin Super Battlecarrier certainly doesn't, so I would expect it doesn't do that, and that means they would have gotten closer. And if they would have gotten closer, the Ryujin Super Battlecarrier would use much more of its diff capacity to deal some damage there. You can see it's only been 2 minutes in-game battle, which is completely crazy, since we are down to 20 minutes now. Yeah, it's been like 20 minutes of recording. So that means that since it's recorded slow and then sped up like this, we're still down to like, what is it? I don't know, it's like a battle that's taking place on 0.1 speed. Yeah, doing recordings like that takes forever, but one trick I did do when I did try to record some of this, oh my god, look at that fireworks going on there. Well, at least those anti-missile missiles are doing something. Yeah, I think that Ryujin Super Battlecarrier would have been dead a lot sooner if it wasn't for its capacity to deal with some missiles and crams. Its lamps are not that great though, so we are pretty bare against these railguns that are coming in here. All right. Yeah, I was going to say something which I don't completely. Oh yes, but anyways, if we've gotten a little closer, we could use our AOG dome turrets. They're up top, and they're of course spamming shots in a really high speed. But they won't see action because they are not active at a distance like this distance we are at right now. Yeah, we certainly got the stutters here. Yeah, one time before I did do a recording. That was something I was going to say. I did do a recording with this really big ship, and I had to record it in like 0.1 speed. And doing that made it so that it didn't lag too much, because then I could speed it up 10 times afterwards. Man, the ship is taking another bout of big missiles. It's pretty crazy how many of those missiles we shoot down in air, and despite that, how many still go through. Like, I think I got the numbers before from Azusa how many there are, but I don't quite remember how many VLMs there are. But you could see when we looked at the ship a little bit before, there were a lot of them, really a lot of them. Well, the damage have been dealt. We can see we got those shots, they're aiming for underwater. I think our engine is, oh yeah, that's, there we could see one of our ring shields is going. So the super battleship, the super Battlecarrier, the Ryujin, it has ring shields, it doesn't have planar shields. Now planar shields are actually better than ring shields, but I thought that the planar shields would kind of destroy the aesthetics a little bit of the super Battlecarrier, so I thought that, yeah, let's do some ring shields instead. Ooh, here is our AI, it's pretty exposed, man. Well, I spent a lot of armor to not get it killed like that, but with those missiles coming in there is not much we can do. And the Ryujin Super Battlecarrier is down to 55.7%, while the Saturnius class is at 98.1%. Well, we did some damage. Oh man, I do think most of our anti-missile systems are down. No, we can still blow some of them up. Ooh, it actually looks like the flag system somehow is still alive. I don't really know how it's not dead yet, but I do have several flag turrets, and that helps. But lately, I'm building a new ship, and lately I've been using a lot of diff flags, because diff flags are just so good. Anyways, Ryujin Super Battlecarrier. After 4.5 minutes of severely unfair battle, it has been going down. Let's do a little quick damage assessment here on the Saturnius, and we can see it has some small damage, but of course it's still pretty active. Thanks a lot to the commissioned officers in the army of Gmodism, and thanks again to Azusa for recording this. See you next time, this is your host, signing out. And do subscribe. And like the video. And stuff like that. Bye bye.